We're going? We're good?
We are on.
Good evening.
All right. Welcome to the Inside the Sulphurbath.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome,
Thank you, Blaine.
visitors. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm Blaine. I should mention that. Blaine Kneece. I've been on the show before a couple times. When I could drop in tonight, I thought it'd be a fun one to visit on, so I'm here. And to my right, we got Trevor.
Hello.
Yes.
How's it going?
And your name comes in two parts as well. Could you tell us the other
You
part?
got a second one.
Thank you. Trevor Hamilton.
Things are picking up.
Trevor Hamilton.
I've been on one of these things before, and I'm here again.
Are you any relation to the oh man, I'm not tucked in. Any relation to the Alexander?
I don't know. I don't want to get into that right now.
Okay, no problem. It's sensitive, I
That's
suppose.
gonna cost
And
you $10.
I am sitting next to
The Alexander.
Mike Wilson.
Wait,
What's that?
And here are you?
Oh yeah. I am Greg Becker.
Don't
I was
skip
gonna
over
go,
yourself,
I was gonna
man.
go last because
Yeah.
I figured that's everyone's here for.
Yeah. No, I mean
for me,
existentially.
probably.
Who are you?
You're supposed to say check and then look next to the person sitting next to you.
Check. Greg Becker.
Mike Wilson, check. Okay, now we can move on.
Way.
It's pretty organized around here.
Maybe we should
Awesome.
practice it again.
We should practice
next
that.
time.
Look at the
Yeah.
fucking audience we have tonight, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is
Everybody
crazy.
shit in the background should go woo or something. Yeah.
As you
God.
can hear,
Yes.
it's obviously at least more than one person.
Yes.
At least three.
We
I
needed
would
to
say.
prove it was more than just one person
Oh,
in the room
yeah.
tonight. This is very good. It's
So,
episode 8, right?
Yeah.
Needless to say, we
Yeah.
made it.
Moving along.
We're
Moving
there.
along, moving on up. 8 is, of course, represents infinity, so that means definitely the show will go for
Feel
infinity.
forever. Feel like it's
So 8 represents infinity.
In my
Because
book,
that-
usually.
What's 9 then? That seems like a little bit more.
Infinity
No.
minus 1, because you got to start going back away from infinity.
my old
That is
band's
some
name.
funky math.
Yeah. So it
How does that
really
go
repeats
for
at
you?
9, not 10. Most people think it repeats at 10, but if you start repeating the number system at 9, you end up with a whole different decimal system. It's really
It wouldn't be decimal though.
More on that later in the show.
it would be a decimal system, but based on nines. Is
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
What would be nonal?
Like 0.1 would be a 9 tenths.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Well, they call it base 8 octal, so I imagine there's a name for 9 as well.
Tonight's also our green screen episode, right?
You may have noticed.
Got you there.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Oh boy.
So I don't
Check
believe
it.
anybody can
Yeah,
check
right.
out that it's
Whoa,
the
the-
green screen episode. They're probably looking at something entirely. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
can
they
see it.
We
never
can
see
see
a
it. It's right
green
there, yeah.
Something entirely different than green. So those of you who
Yes.
don't know, Mike, do you want to take us through what a green screen does?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
At very least, I would hope we could be educational.
Exactly, yeah. So we're going to talk about all the content that we offer here. And in this case, we're Chroma King tonight. This is our Chroma Key episode. This originally started with a company that I worked for before that did green screening. And then for 10 years, I've been out here in New York doing green screens and usually taking people's heads and putting them on other people's bodies.
Dancing?
And for 10 years, yeah, dancing, let's say, like
would
kind
you
of dancing heads or
that?
something like that. I don't know what they're called.
Seems like
but-
an obvious name.
But
I forget it right now.
So anyway, you know, 10 years of doing that, right, and just working, doing green screens for parties
10
and
years
stuff.
of the
And
dancing heads.
now we've got ourselves a real green screen with our own content, not just like Elvis in the background, you know.
Well, we could have Elvis in the background.
No, we couldn't. I think
Why not? Oh, yeah. It's probably well copywritten.
that would be much. You know what I'm noticing? See, that's what I'm noticing.
What are we noticing?
We can, for the sake of the show.
So,
master down, keep talking.
Pull it down.
yeah. So Mike, he might get a little different this episode. He's been feeling a little independent this week. So
How's that
so
doing?
Here,
Is that
here he is again.
is that better? Yeah. No, now we're at least within the clutch of the people at home are probably hearing it distorted until now.
Oh, that's terrible.
That means even though we're live, we're gonna have to start from the beginning. So hey, episode 8, you guys.
Infinity.
Yeah. August 8th.
That's how you reach
August
the
3rd.
actual infinite episode. You
Yeah.
just, you know.
It's
Falling down on
2013.
its side, it's infinity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, dude.
We're in a time
Dean
loop.
has pointed out we're on August 3rd, 8/3 2013. We got a lot of half eights in that.
Oh, so I would say that that's a modern. It's a infinity, but it's stable, right? Because 3.
This is a fairly infinite episode. Is I
That's
think
insane
what we
when you
should.
think
Yeah.
about it.
And a 3 after an 8.
Oh my god.
So what we're saying is this episode is going to be the longest yet.
Yeah, the longest. Yeah, we
Infinity.
capped out around 2 hours once. This episode won't go to that, but
No.
yeah, tonight's gonna be really cool.
We'll go to infinity.
Yeah, yeah, tonight's gonna be really cool. We have artist Justin Petropoulos joining us tonight,
Yes.
and
will
Justin
have a-
is
Oh yes, let's do that.
gonna be awesome. Justin is a poet. He's gonna share some stuff with us, some poetry, do some reading, and also he works with another collaborator that we're gonna see some of her work. What's her name again? Carla Ganis. Yes, and yeah, I was looking at you guys' stuff online earlier. It looks amazing, so I'm really pleased to have you guys here tonight, to have you, Justin, here tonight. And we're also really pleased to have Paradise Club with us tonight.
Yes.
So yeah, we're gonna have live performance of Paradise Club. Parentheses, Kiowa Hammons and Eric Trosko, good friends.
All right.
All friends of the Sulphurbath. And so we're just hanging out. We're doing the same thing we always do. So I guess I would say, what's our intro this week? We were supposed to have a meeting before, right? And all you guys were late,
Yeah,
and I
you
didn't
g-
tell you about
How
it.
do you guys feel about meetings? You guys have
I
to
was
meet
here on time.
often. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you feel about meetings? You have to do those often.
Yeah, no one's ever on time though. It seems like.
Right.
Yeah. There's meetings all the time. They're just not scheduled.
Yeah.
They're like right now we're having a meeting.
It'd be really strange if we started having that set sort of level of detail in this show where we'd have like Outlook calendars and email each other and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
I could be sending you wireless emails, even though you're right next to me.
Can you do that these
Yeah.
days?
Yeah.
Wow.
You can schedule them later.
It's amazing.
What have you guys been up to this week? It's been nice weather, right? But last few episodes have been
Gorgeous.
hot. We've been like, but
Yeah.
this week's been pretty nice in New York.
You can tell by the shine. You can tell when it's
Yeah,
like here, you
exactly.
know?
That's how you judge it. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I think
can you see the camera's reflection in Mike's forehead?
Yeah,
I think
you know?
we've somehow
Green-
managed to
green
bring down
screening
the
out
heat.
my forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I'm sure that'll happen a little bit. Yeah, there we go.
It very uncharacteristically hasn't happened to me yet. I'm not sweating. One
You might, yeah.
soon though.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are,
Yeah.
Trevor.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just been working. It rained a little bit, but it's been nice and cool,
hmm
which is cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
It's like a midsummer lull. We've probably
Very-
got a lot more
very
heat ready
cool.
to hit us, right?
Oh, totally.
And,
There's going to be that part of the summer where we're like, oh, I thought this was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, let me ask you. I wanted to say that usually at the top of the show there's a video, something we see,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
What are we saving that video for?
No,
what's
we
going
already
on?
played it. The folks at home saw it.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
we
were
knew
standing
that.
here. It was
Totally.
No,
yeah.
I didn't. I want to know.
It was yeah. I'll show you later.
If I wasn't
after
on
the
it,
show.
I'd watch it.
Right? Exactly. No, we our intro video today was some footage that I got in Europe when I was traveling there, and
Yeah.
kind of reassessed and edited together in a certain way. Just taking some of the best things that attracted me and juxtaposing different things. That specifically was I was in Interlaken, heard the sound of a bell, and
Ooh,
decided,
where's
my
Interlaken?
camera's on. Where's this bell? And so I recorded all the way up until I found the bell. And it was interesting, like climbing this clock tower and being like, oh, well, I get to it before it stops. And as soon as I got it on the camera on it, it stopped. And it was kind of cool timing.
Yeah.
And what else?
And
That was
there's a
juxtaposed.
big,
yeah.
like, angel on the street. at
Oh yeah,
some
street
point, too.
performer in Firenze, Italia, in Florence. That was, I think, at the what is that place there in Florence? The Uffizi Gallery. Is that what it is? I think it was
I've never been there.
Uffizi, and that was just a street performer there performing as an angel. But just right place, at the right time. Ended up getting good footage, and I remember
Cool.
Yeah.
Les, who's going to be doing some video backgrounds for Paradise Club tonight, was
Cool.
actually there when I took that shot long ago. We were in Europe together, and so that, and then the stuff in Interlaken, and just piecing together. I figured that I've been sitting on this footage actually like 11 years since I went on this trip, and I've edited and re-edited it and recontextualized it 100 times. And with the show now, we're doing this small intro that is produced by Sulphurbath every week. And I thought, every 5 or 6 weeks or so, I'll just put a little segment from that travelogue. And so that basically was the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it weird seeing it back after so much time?
It is, yeah. It feels like it was yesterday, of course, when you put yourself there. But, it was really free travel because it was like part of it started with, I was lucky enough to be part of an education system and to be able to afford to do like an education abroad thing. And so that took me to Italy, and I was able to study there. But at the end of that, having worked all the way through college and saving up a little extra money, I spent a lot of time just kind of like hostling around Europe. And I got that footage during that time. And that was a really liberating, really amazing thing to do. So when I go back and watch that footage again, I can't help but think like, I want to hit the road again, man. I want to be sleeping on a train again and have people stepping over me and, waking up, groggy-eyed, but just at the moment the sun's rising and you see like 3 straight dogs like fighting over a blanket or something. And, yes, the good old days.
Did that happen, Mike?
Yeah, actually, that
it
was
just
a
the
weird
type of thing that you
Romania. Like
feel?
if you're in Romania and
Yeah.
you're thinking about
For your characters.
stereotypical Romania,
Dogs fighting in the streets.
then and what I mean by that is like looking for Dracula everywhere you go, and then getting attacked by a couple dogs,
And
on
then
the street,
running
yeah.
when you find them.
No, you see a bunch of dogs, and at first the dogs are like these wild packs of dogs, right? That I found in a couple different places when I was in Europe. Athens, this happened to me, and you're like, oh, friendly dogs, and they're looking like we're friendly, and then you just show one sign of weakness, and then they're just on you.
Tear your face off.
And I remember running through a field in Romania with like 5 or 6 dogs chasing me. And one of them ran up and like, as we were running, I was thinking like, oh, I'm running away from dogs. This is fun. And one of them jumped up and like grabbed my hand and like cut me. The fucking dog like bit into me and I was bleeding.
Oh my God.
Convinced I was a werewolf.
Yeah, of course.
Convinced I was a werewolf that night. Like,
dog.
So how did you cure werewolfism?
the same thing any hosteler cures werewolfism. Opiates in a dance club and flirting. Basically, I think is.
I don't know if that cures it.
Yeah. You're like, what this? No, this is just a werewolf.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it might just delay the inevitable.
Yeah.
How are we doing on our signal? Is that too hot now? Is it sounding good? Oh wait, nobody over there has headphones
too
on.
hot.
Sounding.
I'd say it's a pretty hot signal, Mike.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been listening to
You guys
it.
didn't bring your headphones?
We got thumbs up, but
messed up.
nobody's actually hearing anything. So that's good. We're
It's
gonna
just
count on the
people
folks at
with
home to
thumbs
adjust
over
their
there.
volume and stuff.
Yes. Nice.
Anyway, I digress. So what else is going on with you guys? How have you been, Greg? What's been new this week? What are you doing?
Oh, not too much. Just working a lot this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going away. You're not going to be around next week.
Oh
right?
yeah, I am. I'm going to the Adirondacks in upstate New York for 2 weeks. Gonna
Wait,
do
you training for a fight or something? What does one do
no.
up there?
I'm doing how to describe it quickly. It's an outdoor education program for college level students, and there are a lot of purposes for it. But it's really to take people out of their element and to have them experience something challenging, to put them in a different element, something they're not used to, and then also present them with challenges to solve so that they can, I guess, experience their character under pressure, which a lot of people these days don't really have an opportunity to do. And then we'll spend 7 days out backpacking all the stuff we need in the Adirondack Park with no real specific support, just camping with what we bring.
I feel like my character is under pressure every day, and I need to go camping.
Yeah.
And so, are you going to teach them how to like find water by looking for bugs,
Well,
stuff like that?
We won't be in a place where we need to actually search for water. It'll be everywhere. We just need to know how to sterilize it is
Yeah.
the more important part. We'll talk about that for
Yeah.
sure.
Giardia is it's a
Exactly.
big deal.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, it's a microbe that makes you very sick, and it's fairly uncommon, but it happens. So you're better off boiling your water for at least 2 minutes, or there are other methods you can add stuff to it. But boil your water for at least 2 minutes if you're going to the Adirondacks.
This is some great information. I'm really loving that we're
Maybe
covering this
get
on the
very
show.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and what other survival? Do you have any other survival tips? Eating bugs is really good, right? High protein, and you can
Yeah.
find them.
Those
Pretty easily.
those
That's
black
how I've been
ants.
getting by.
Yeah,
Those
right.
sort of like carpenter-looking ants. Those are edible. If you're in a pinch, you
Oh.
can just grab those.
No
up
pun
and-
intended. If you're in a pinch. So what if you you go to eating these ants and they're like biting your lips and stuff?
Nah, you
That's
use
like-
your pincers against theirs.
Yeah.
Crush 'em.
It feels like a hot sauce.
Take the head off
It's not-
first,
Yeah.
Mike.
They're
Take
fairly
the head off?
sour, actually.
That seems like a
They're not
lot of work
terrible.
for not that
They're
much
not-
food,
yeah.
you guys. I mean,
No,
wouldn't it
no,
be better
you're-
just to like
You're
stick a
not
straw
gonna
right in
go
the
out
anthill
with
and
the
just
purpose of getting
Yeah.
ants. That's ridiculous.
No, it's not like you're
Oh.
a chimp. Do you ever see the chimps put a stick in the ground?
Yeah,
They
that's
pull
pretty
out all
smart,
the-
man.
Yeah, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, that's-
Or if you're an anteater, you got your name apparently because you're really equipped for
Yeah.
doing that.
yeah.
And they have the long tongue and the long snout, and
Yeah. They just dig right in.
and they happen to hate ants.
No, they love them.
They might
Yeah.
really love them. Yeah. If they hated ants, they'd probably want to eradicate them, which would be not very useful to them.
You
All
got,
ants.
you got me there.
Which ones are edible? Like the
Any
the
ants,
black
like an anteater
ones
would eat any ants, right?
that have sort of
mean, it's
like you can
picky.
see the exoskeleton. So
But-
not like the sugar ants, because those are just that's disgusting.
But what about like the
Larger
army
ants.
ants? Don't you think like a group
No.
of army ants could
Stay
just
away
like
from them.
bull right over
Red ants,
an
stay away
anteater?
from red ones.
Oh.
No good for you. They
Yeah.
could get bitey
Hmm.
more than you want them
Yeah.
to. Fire ants, not very good also.
There's
Except for hot sauce purposes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Spice up your
What
food.
are piss ants? Do you guys know that term?
Oh, dude, I met this piss ant
Very
That's
outside.
funny. I once called a bully that, and he just laughed at me.
What are you from the 40s?
Turns out the perfect thing to call a bully.
Also, good survival advice.
Right, they were about to beat the shit out of me. I was like, "You guys are piss
Just
ants."
say something really abstract, and they're like, "Whoa!"
I was probably from a
talking about.
movie, but yeah, it didn't work. It was clearly he laughed. It wasn't funny.
and then commenced
Beating me up.
beating. Oh, so not very good survival.
You were like,
in
"Poppycock,
case
what's with
anyone was
this
misled
tomfoolery?"
there.
And he was like, "Whoa."
But I think aren't piss ants
Theater
actually
kid.
like they're the little black ants and they emit some sort of acid and they get on you and then they like
Wait,
actually
they're an actual
chemically.
thing?
Yeah,
Not
they
just
chemically.
like
I
a-
remember getting attacked by him against my grandfather's advice. He was like, "Don't go pissing on that bush with the piss ants," and that's.
Or do they go
admittedly,
berserk when you pee on
That's
them?
how I got busted. Pissing on a bush with a bunch of ants there, and then suddenly looking down and my feet just covered with black ants.
Wow.
It was like the most pain. And they have like this chemical that they release when I don't know if they're biting you or
That's
just like
terrible.
yeah.
That's a yellow jacket.
So
man.
basically, listen to your grandfather's advice about urinating in public.
I'd say
That's
listen to
what
your
I would
grandfather's
say.
advice
Yeah.
almost always. They've been around long
Or
enough. Where
James
they're
Cromwell.
not
He
even
sound-
giving that
sounds
out
like Grandpa.
too much.
Yeah.
I'd take his advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like a good guy.
Seems like good advice. This was in New Mexico, so if you guys are ever out on a lake, freshwater lake in New Mexico,
Yeah.
Don't
watch for them ants. They're
Watch for them
dangerous.
piss ants.
Yeah.
Boil
So
the water.
wait, if
And
you're
boil
in,
your
Watch for-
water.
Watch for the piss.
if you're
Watch
in
for
New
piss ants.
Mexico and
Yeah.
you need to take a piss, where do you do it? Not on a tree?
Well,
Or do you just look for the
basically,
piss ants?
basically
In a
anywhere.
bathroom, dude.
Anywhere, but you want to make sure that there's no dangerous animals about. Is the key to that one.
So like in
Yeah.
a clearing where
Yeah.
you don't see any ants.
That's right.
Best choice.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think okay. So we did the piss ant thing we discussed,
Yeah.
and we did the
This was
survival
all in the
boiling the
meeting.
water thing that we
Oh,
discussed.
also, just to add, for Adirondack Park, if you're gonna camp there, bring a bear bag, bring a bear can.
Oh, they have bears. Yeah.
bears.
Hmm.
Definitely bears.
Did you see any bears, or
I
was there
didn't.
bear
I
activity?
haven't actually been on the extended trip they call it, the 7
Yeah.
days out in the woods. Today or this year will be my first year,
Mhm.
so I might not be coming back.
Hmm.
Just fair warning.
We should give if we're so
Whoa.
into going camping and like man being part of nature. I think we
Yeah.
should give something back to nature and allow bears and raccoons to take very pleasant city trips, like tourist style.
We should integrate
like
them
we should
into
and
our
just and
society?
guide them and like, oh,
horses
here's what
and
you want,
dogs and
tons of
cats.
trash, whatever you want. The city produces all this stuff for you.
Yeah.
We're just exploiting their territory, but we never give them the chance to come live in our shoes, you
Yeah.
know.
I'm
And
behind
yeah,
you.
exactly. Bears are omnivores, Dean was
Yeah.
saying. So exactly, bring them into the city.
Get him some bistro.
There are raccoons,
Some
and not
bistro
only are there
bears.
raccoons in Central Park, Eric, but there are also raccoons right here in Bushwick. I
Oh,
went
yeah.
downstairs the other day to take my trash out. It was like late at night, but
Yeah.
late at night taking the trash out right here in Bushwick. Raccoon.
Also over in Queens, raccoons like nuts.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Closer to Long Island. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same island.
You wouldn't
but-
expect it. You think, oh, I see this when I go camping, but they're all over New York City. It's crazy.
You sure that wasn't just a large rat? Because I've seen pretty big rat.
Large
That was my
rat.
first
With a
instinct.
burglar mask
yeah.
on?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was my first
hind
instinct.
legs of a
I don't
cat.
want anybody to notice me.
Yeah.
But like the front side of a rat. It's out there. I've seen them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I've seen some kitten-sized rats for sure.
Yeah.
Raccoon is maybe pushing it, but
Yeah.
some actual like animal.
Well,
size
between
rats.
the subway cats and the
Yeah.
giant rats
Oh,
and the
the track bunnies?
raccoons,
Yeah.
you know, you never know what you're gonna get. When I was in London, I saw a fox. We were in the middle of London, like Metro
Yeah,
London.
so British.
Ran into a fox,
So
Very
and I
British.
thought to myself, "Is this like a
Of
rat
course.
in London? Do they just like this? What
they
people
just
deal with is foxes in London?"
hey, these leprechauns.
Yeah, no, it was literally like just walking home back to the hostel or whatever, drunk and like late night London, like looking over, like,
Oh.
are we hallucinating or is that a
Where are
fox? Right? And sure enough, and very funny story about that actually. We were kind of lost and kind of buzzed from hanging out at a club. You know, go to a club in London, you're like desperate to get. Oh, what are they listening to in London? And they're totally playing like Snoop and Tupac when I went there. Anyway, so like going home to the hotel after that, and on the way home, like.
But wait, you
Like
were
looking over and seeing a fox, and the fox led us back to the hostel, which we didn't know where it was. We were lost. And then, oh, let's follow the fox. And we followed it, and it was like 3 lefts, a right, a left, and a U later. Boom. Travelodge. London. And
So you were
like,
lost like 3 blocks away from your hotel?
3, 5,
So I took this fox
4
back to my hotel.
6 and a U. 6 and a U. Yeah.
Man,
So.
metropolitan areas.
But
are
I don't know if you
confusing
could
that way.
trust like the raccoons in New York City that way. If a tourist from
No,
London is here in New York,
Untrustworthy.
Yeah.
That's how. That's
Yeah.
exactly
they're
how I
not going to
describe
lead
them.
you back
They're
to
not
your
extremely helpful.
Yeah. They're not going.
Yeah. That's like
Yeah.
the squirrels in their parks, man. They are serious.
Yeah.
They've got
Oh,
territory.
the squirrels too. We didn't
Yeah.
mention them. Yeah, the squirrels are no joke.
Yeah,
in
they're
New
like,
York
make
City.
with your French fries, like. They're like, really? I'm telling you, like, you can't eat fries in a park.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous out there.
I'm going to test that hypothesis. Yeah.
No, they are pretty ballsy.
And
Just can't really be yourself in a park anymore.
because of all the social
Yeah.
pressure implied by
Yeah.
squirrels that hang out.
That's what I'm feeling. I don't know if you can.
Jeez.
Anyway, cool. So moving along, we're gonna switch things up here a little bit and bring out our artist segment. Right?
Yeah.
You guys cool?
do
So
it.
yeah, in the house tonight, we've got joining us Justin Petropoulos. Justin, thanks so much for joining us. We're gonna call him out right now.
Yeah, yo.
Is that a Petropolis? Petropolis?
Petropoulos. Cool. Well, thank you for joining us, Justin. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah. Well, now I'm okay. Now I can hear myself, and that's good.
That's great.
Okay.
I wasn't sure I was going to be able to.
Yeah.
Random deafness is what happens to me in front of cameras.
It happens.
Yeah.
Sort of like deers in headlights only.
Just the frightening loss.
I'm just going to look at you all in the eyes.
Yeah, no problem.
It's not as comforting as I thought, looking at all of you in the eyes.
Right?
I thought it would be like,
Yeah.
oh, it's
Like,
conversational.
hey, come on in.
Should
Yeah,
we smile
no.
more?
No, now I'm just kind of freaked out even.
Okay. hang on.
Should be much more receptive.
We could do one of those tension breaking like screams if you want or
Male way
something.
of talking where we sit side by side, the cowboy style.
It's
man.
that I don't
Look
trust you. I
over.
think I need to fall backward into your arms or do one of those like corporate trust exercises.
Yeah.
I think then we'll be okay.
Do you guys?
Yeah.
We could do one of those 5-person strong right now.
No,
if you-
no.
I mean,
I'll-
Okay, yeah.
would you
But
feel
we
more
would,
comfortable
and you
laying
need to know
across
that.
us?
exactly, we would have.
the fact
for
that
you.
you're
Yeah.
offering is
Yeah.
enough.
Okay.
I think
All right.
it's good.
The gesture.
We're
does.
breaking down walls
Thank
here,
you.
guys. It's really going somewhere.
So we're already in our welcome to our green screen episode.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks
Thank you
for
for
joining
having
us
me.
on this one. We're
He's
already
really
projecting
here.
behind us right now.
Yeah,
We're,
see?
I'm trying to do both things at the same time, which is that's
Oh.
also equal. That's nice because I
Whoa.
can look at that and not know.
Yeah, the one on the this is for the folks at home that can't see it also, just to trip them
Isn't that
out.
the
But the
curtain
one
that's
on the
usually-
left is the preview, and the one on the right is what we're live on now.
Right, and I'm
Yeah.
just not going to talk to you all at all. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Especially
That's how it
because
works.
in the back right now. In the back right now, there's a window and there's a nice breeze, and I want to be near the window. I'm
Yeah.
having one of
Yeah.
those. Yeah, claustrophobic moments. Hi. I don't like elevators.
Little
Welcome.
tight.
There's also like a whole pit of zombies over there, like
Wow.
right? It's
No, no,
oh,
no.
all my friends are offended that I called them zombies, but you know that's a good expressive. Like look at the there's a lot of people here. That makes me feel good.
There's so
Everybody's,
many zombies on TV now that it's
Mhm.
kind of not scary anymore. I mean, brain eaters. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm over it. It's not.
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
fine.
I've
I would
planned
do
out my
fine.
exit strategy a lot. I
Yeah,
can't do
just-
anymore.
I just
Yeah.
studied their
Yeah.
moves. It's
They're not fast. They're fast on camera, but not really fast, which is nice. It's good.
They're working numbers. No.
Yeah, there are
Yeah, those
tons
are
of
fast zombies.
renditions.
Those are
Yeah, you get the
28
fast
days
zombies.
later,
Yeah,
fast
but
zombies.
That's something
too
that's
much.
quite a threat.
I can't
A
have
horde of fast zombies.
I'm.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna give me nightmares, and that's not okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get off the topic of
I have
zombies.
I have
but-
problems
Yeah.
sleeping as it is, and it's not
So
okay.
welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome
Talk
to the
about some
panel,
other
by
stuff,
the way.
right? There's more than zombies, I'm sure.
So in just a second, Miho's going to start switching to go into your project. But yeah, I saw your ebook that you're releasing soon, and I saw a lot of your work online, and I read an interview or two. And I'm pleased to have you here. Can we ask you a little bit about your methodology and how you work doing poetry, redacted texts, and such like that, right?
I will do my best rendition of something amusing about that. So, okay. The first collection of poems that I wrote was called Eminent Domain, and all of them are collage text. So it's newspaper articles, things from a textbook my father from when my father was in college, math books, economics books, and anything that I could find, plus my own work, sort of all woven together. I do a lot of things with found work. So the latest project is called Legend, and Legend is a collaborative project that I'm doing with my partner Carla Ganis, who's a interdisciplinary or multimedia artist, does a lot of digital work, and what basically happened. The easiest way to do it is to do it sort of narratively, I guess, which is we were talking about this a little bit earlier. So there was a blizzard, and we had nothing to do. And I had some pieces that I had done. I had redacted some text from a book called The Book of Earths by Edna Keaton, which is written, or Kenton, I'm sorry, which is in 1928. And it's a compendium of different ideas about the shape of the earth and the folklore that goes around it. And I just started just blacking out text with a marker and making poems with whatever I had left behind. And I had some of those handy, and I read some to her, and she started making these drawings. And then every drawing that she made afterward sort of influenced the next poem. And what we ended up with was this sort of collaborative manuscript of images and poems, all of which based on redacted text. I'm being a little dishonest, right? It's not only redacted text, right? I cheated. I put some of the text through. I played games with them, used anagrams, trying to stay faithful to the original text, but still sort of trying to expand the vocabulary.
Right, you mentioned earlier that you had some rules that you had applied, and you found that you broke more rules as you went, or it wasn't enough anymore, and so you decided to start working outside of the boundaries you had previously set.
Well, it's sort of like your rules just with anything. When you start working out or exercising, or like people who like are religious, or I feel like you start off at the beginning. You're very like, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this.
Certain regiment.
Right, and you're like, and you're good with that. You're like, okay, well, it's all cool, and then you get a little bit bored, or you come across a page of text that you're not really so interested in, and then all of a sudden I'm pulling the text apart and taking parts of it. So I do a thing which is old. It's an Oulipo compendium or a Oulipo game, which is called N7, where you basically take a piece of text and every noun in the text, you search for the noun that appears 7 down from it in the dictionary, and then replace it. So you end up with texts that don't make as much sense.
Yeah. You mean thesaurus?
No. Like in a dictionary. So
Oh,
it's
so you
if the
actually
noun
just
is like
in alphabetical order,
right,
the 7th
you
word
just
down.
go 7 down and pick one and move it, which is a lot of work. But they have luckily online programs that provide this service. And so I would literally drop and drag text into an N7 generator, and it would give me different versions of the text with all the nouns moved one noun down, or 2 or 3, all the way to 15. And then I would pull lines that I liked that were maybe better than the original, or smash them together and end up with just extra vocabulary to make images from. And I think that was more it. It was more trying to battle the limitations of the original author's like lexicon and syntax. So you just have to sort of branch out. And after 200 pages, you start to get a little bit of an itchy trigger finger, I think. And you're just like, I need more words. And so...
And do you seek out specific sources for this, or you said that when you were stuck in the blizzard, it was kind of just what was sitting there and inspired you at the time? But when you go forward, yeah.
No, well, I mean, the thing is, it's interesting. We, so, in my first book, I did a lot of stuff with what was handy, things like newspapers and things that I had in my house. I have a ton of books, which is terrifying to move with in New York, but we won't get into the moving in New York. That's a little too. My ADHD is showing. Hello. Okay, I have a cat on my lap now. We've now reached
Welcome,
bliss.
Billy.
This is magical right here.
You will meet my demands.
I feel you will like poetry, or you will suffer.
I destroyed all your dictionaries.
Really? Okay. And if anyone knows me, this is terrifying. Like, I love cats, and I could sit here. I just want to pet. I won't stop talking just to pet a cat. I break for cats.
Yeah, she's an attention scout too. He's talking. I like his laugh.
I'm talking about you, and yes, you are adorable. But the thing about the playing around with the text or expanding the text and moving things around is, what's strange about it is you feel like you're cheating. Like I made these rules and I'm breaking them, but at the end of it, by that point, you kind of figured out what this stuff is about. So then it becomes more deliberate, and then it becomes like what began as a random operation then becomes a more deliberate, sort of like planned event.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that stilts the text or I don't know, but it's just what happens process-wise. Like you just sort of you keep building on the same language, and then all of a sudden it expands, and you're like, oh, I can do that. So I mean, one example that I always think of is nowhere in this text does the phrase "bit rot" appear, right? But through an anagram generator, I ended up with the phrase "bit rot," and I'm like, oh, good. Like I get to talk about sort of more contemporary technologies, and it's not just like the wind sail and the carriage, and and that's kind of fun. So I don't know, but
Can you
did
expand?
I answer your question?
Can you
at all?
expand upon bit rot outside of that context as well?
Well, I mean, for me, I was just making a really bad pun about crotch rot, but I mean, really, I was.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to go there a little bit.
No,
more,
I was. I
basically.
mean, it was.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, because I'm not one of
Why?
those people. I know a lot of poets who are very like, oh, well, they curse, and there's a lot of cursing going on, and a lot of like references to direct sexual acts and drug use and stuff like that. And I never do it. I don't know why. I have a mouth like a dock worker, but I don't do that. But I like innuendo. I think it's because I went to school with Shakespeare. Like there's all that sort of innuendo and sort of slyness, and I really like that. I really appreciate it kind of more. It's more oddly seductive to me. I don't know what that means. What does that say about me? Am I Victorian? Should I be wearing a cravat?
Well, you went to school with Shakespeare.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like
How
ruffly
was he?
collars. It's okay. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
So what's going on behind us? Is there's going to be blackout screen. Is just images from a manuscript that I'm doing that I've just finished collaboratively with Carla Ganis, who's a digital artist or intermedia artist and assistant chair of digital art at Pratt, and it's coming out on Jaded Ibis Press in September. And there'll be a gallery show, actually, a transfer gallery here in Bushwick, in September 7th, which will also be
Where at?
an opening. A transfer gallery, which is
Okay,
on
Transfer.
1030 Metropolitan.
Oh, cool. Transfer Gallery on September 7th.
September 7th.
Cool.
So there'll be a show, and that's the thing. It's the root of the project is the text that you're seeing. So it's text that I redacted from a book. I don't know who saw that or if I'm repeating
Yeah,
myself.
they've definitely saw
Okay.
it.
And then drawings that were influenced by that text, and then sort of the cycle where she's influencing me and I'm influencing
Do you
her.
feel like it's that it forms a cohesive story, or it leads anywhere? Does it feel like a unit?
I mean, for me, it does. I mean, I think part of it is too because it was all redacted from the same book. It does have that sort of. There is this level of consistency just sort of built into it automatically. I mean, I don't even have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think, and this is an interesting thing. Carla, as a visual artist, is more narrative than I am in lots of ways. So when she draws things or does imaging, whether it's on the computer or with a pen and ink, it's really very. There's a story. It's very and it's strict in some ways. Allegorical in lots of ways, but really kind of you can say, okay, I know what's happening. Like these people are being chased by a giant. Like it's really quite. My work, I tend to like systemics a lot. Like I really focus on people for me. A friend of mine, Simeon Barry, said one time that when he read Virginia Woolf's The Wave, that all the characters felt like sock puppets, like just sort of talking through a kind of theoretical. And I use characters in that way. I'm really moved by theory and ideas more than I am by like beautiful clouds and those kind of images.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's my job as a poet to give people the opportunity to feel what I feel when I read that kind of theoretical stuff, but in a way that they're going to sort of attach to. Because I mean, no one can tell me that Heidegger is really emotive. It's not. I mean, I don't think he uses a metaphor like for 500 pages. It's hard to emote without metaphor. But so I try to do that in a lot of the work.
If you can somehow make a beautiful sunset out of Heidegger, then
Right,
yeah,
right.
okay,
Which I mean,
cool.
granted, I don't think I'm accomplishing either of those things, like representing
Regardless,
Heidegger. Not that
yeah.
I want to represent. I'm sorry, Heidegger, but I don't want to represent you.
Yeah, he's cool with
He's
it.
all right. He's got 2 G's in his name. It's all right. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, and I think that what was interesting for me was the relationship that built in the collaboration, where I realized the things that Carla was reacting to on paper, and so the next poems that I was writing, I kind of played into those sort of images. So by the time of the end of the book happens, I think if you ask Carla, I mean, I could be lying right now, but she loves more of the later poems because they do, I think, speak to more of how her brain works and those kind of things. I said this earlier. I'm giving away your secret, Carla. This is just between this is me and a camera and everyone in the room, and we're telling everybody. When she draws, usually she has headphones on and she listens to like old time radio. So I like the contrast anyway of a super digital artist listening to Sam Spade or
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
cool.
it's kind of preposterous. But so every time I walk into a room, it's like we have an update on the Patty Hearst killer. Like what I'm saying? Like we know exactly what's happening, and I feel like. I like to give her things to work with that are so not narrative that it actually forces, with the images, the same thing that I'm asking people to do with the poems, which is I'm being really associative and you need to fill in the blanks. And those associations aren't necessarily image-based. They're definitional. Like, it's based on, puns and things like, what it means to actually like pay attention, like what that means as like using phrases that we use for commodity to talk about attention. So there's a lot of those kind of punning and games that are being played, and I really like the idea of using phrases like Robert Creeley, where you'd use a really open phrase that had like 6 meanings, and it depends on where you put the grammar. And in these poems, which they're redacted poems that we did together, I mentioned this to you guys earlier, that I took all the grammar out because they were all redacted, so there was really no grammar. It was just words on a page. And unlike other people who are contemporary, like there's like Austin Kleon, who did, God, I forget the name of it right now, I'm sorry. But it's basically an entire book of redactions from the newspapers. And you actually see all the black lines, and it's very visual that way. Some of these poems I try to leave on the page sort of as they would have appeared if I had actually blacked them out. And some of them I formalized, and I felt like part of it was like sort of counterpoint, where you formalize something that's really abstract, and it gives people a little, like a way in. They feel like, okay, this is a unit. I understand how I'm supposed to think about this. Have I rambled way off topic at this point?
No, this is the exact
Yeah.
type of rambling we like.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I haven't made some sort of like a your mama joke in about 35 minutes, and it's starting to feel weird. I'm sorry. It's a friend that I went to grad school and I with, like, literally, he at the end of no matter whatever I say, the last sentence he'll just attach like a your mama joke to it and like just move on. And so
Like your mama would move on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, your mama moves on, and which I mean, it's like the antithesis
yeah.
of what those jokes are actually supposed to be. And this has been going on for 10 years now. So I do it. Yeah, I do it to my own mother, which is really sad. I'm sorry, Mom.
But I love
I'm
this.
the bad one. I'm the only one, but I'm also the bad one.
But I love this kind of found poetry. I know a lot of artists that work with this kind of methodology in music, using samples, in film. Finding old films and re-editing stuff. And I really like this. It almost says something about, that whole ethos that everything's been done already, right? And so we're now looking beyond that at, what's the higher level of, okay, now that everything's been done, what do we do with everything that's been done? And then what we find is that not everything's been done in doing that.
Right.
And can you talk a little bit more about the how what you do is perceived kind of in more of a mainstream way?
Oh, God. Okay.
I know because
I think we have to start off with clarifying a conceit here. Poetry and mainstream is one of those, like the equation with a not equal sign next to it. That's
sure.
right. I mean, I think the most mainstream poet that anyone can mention was the former poet laureate Billy Collins, who is like the favored punching bag of all poets who like claim to be real poets sort of knock Billy Collins. And I mean, I'm not a huge fan of his work, but he's people read him, and I mean, if you're one of those people who believes that writing or music or any of those things requires an audience to complete itself, then he's completing his poems and you're not, and that's really it. But I just offended Billy Collins. I'm about to be struck down by some sort of experimental avant-garde soldier or something. But I think in the mainstream, I think I think the way I teach it is probably the best thing to say is I teach a lot of film, because I think that a lot of the kids are used to the mainstream, which I'm using children as the mainstream, but are more used to sort of making associations based on imagery, and they're not used to doing that in text. When they see two words next to each other in text that they don't go together grammatically or in their head, they don't say, okay, well, how are we comparing these two words? That's not the first thing they do. They don't try to build a narrative between them. But I think with film, they see, okay, it's very easy. If you have like an image of someone holding hands and a moon and like a forest with like some like shoe impressions in the dirt, they're going to go, oh, they're stealing away to the woods. Like they're going to be able to make that little narrative, sure. Which they won't do on paper. And I think that most readers are like that. Most readers, there's an expectation of a kind of surface, like who, what, where, when, why. I think American students are taught to read that way. I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I think that there's more. Yeah, it's like, what's happening? Who's it happening to? Why is it happening? And that's how we know it's real. Right. It's sometimes, yeah, and sometimes how. and sometimes why. Let's not leave why out. But I think that, that's the thing. It's like, the phrase you hate to hear as a teacher or as somebody who talks about reading or even interpreting anything is, aren't you reading too much into this? And it's like, no, you're not reading anything into it. And I think abstract poetry or abstract fiction or movies or film, excuse me.
If it's abstract,
if you've
it's
ever
film.
been hit with a video camera, you will say film. They mean it. You're asking the audience to complete the text. You're asking them to fill in the gaps, and I think that that's something people aren't used to, but they're more used to it definitely visually than on paper.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't know if that
Absolutely.
makes any sense at all.
Made
Yeah,
sense
definitely.
to me. So I hope everyone else.
Apparently,
is with it.
mentioning being attacked by someone with a camera quiets the room. Did
Yeah,
I
right.
say something wrong? Am I,
We've all been there.
Defending
Am
film
I
by
about to?
attacking you
Am
with
I
a
about to be
video camera.
slaughtered in this strange zombie thing?
Yeah. So, we're gonna do some reading for us
Sure,
today,
I'll
Justin?
read
I would
some
love it.
stuff.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm gonna have to take my glasses off because I'm old and I can't see far away and close at the same time. So
Whatever works for you.
it's very sad. Just a camera. So there are some. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read a couple of poems, probably from my first collection, which is called Eminent Domain, and then read 2 poems from Legend, which is the new book that'll be out in September.
Cool.
And hope that I don't mess it up too badly. And please, if I am speaking with the poetry voice, throw something at me.
What is the poetry?
Well, like there's 2 kinds of poetry voices. There's the poetry
Yeah.
voice that's very overdramatic. It's like, tomorrow I went to, like tomorrow I got up and went to school. It's very like, there's like pauses in really random places. Yeah, it's like,
What?
William Shatner meets, I don't even know what, like Donahue or something. And then there's the other kind, which is like the tomorrow,
Yeah, okay.
tomorrow. Right, it's just like so solemn and you're just like, so.
You have like Jack Kerouac versus Maya Angelou.
Right. It's and
Yeah.
I don't want to do I really want the sarcasm to come through. No, I'm just kidding.
You're just being sarcastic.
I'm just
Yeah,
I'm just
I
joshing.
really wanted to.
I've really always wanted to say just joshing, and now I've gotten the chance. Thank you for enabling me. Okay, so I'm gonna read the first poem I'm gonna read is so the first book, just quick, is all prose poems. They're all collage. It's called Eminent Domain, and a lot of the collage I did trying to replicate in reading how people feel or are made to feel by their various displacements, whether they're displaced from their home because of eminent domain or because they live at a border or in a border situation, are refugees, etc. And I did that through syntax and sort of mixing different lexicons inside of sentences that may not go together. I don't know if it worked, but we'll try. So the first section is actually called Coincidence of Wants, and this is actually the first poem, so it's 1-1. Coincidence of Wants. It must be said from the outset that economies of affection have nothing to do with fondness, per se. Rather, they connote. Some of us wave to the soldiers, a contract housing a colony, a storefront of sweet things. Whether it was guava seeds or a transfiguration is unclear. Matic, precordium, a colander of condensed milk. The impatience of super now accounts. Everything you can say savored for itself alone. But the collector node reflects the amount of evidence collected in support of belief, disbelief in a given relation. I only remember the prayer for snakes. If you say the words through your nose, the snakes disappear, lassoed off by the wind. Already a microphone crosses the threshold of lips, echoes those debts, slipped interior. The way his hair always smacked wisteria, or the treasury buys spools of copper from subsidiary currency, from a foreign multinational. Each coil fed through a blanketing press, punching out zygotes. Surrounded by callous tissue, not only memories, but the distances in their refrain. At this here rate, always running toward a starting gun. Fire coils along morning's cables. Smoke lilts from the bus as its doors fold open. Coughed up passengers. Most of us work here. Passed along the conveyor to the furnace. But even saints are depicted with their hands turned toward themselves. Arms with compasses circling, so to speak. You know, I never go out in the rain anymore. There's a honey locust outside, wilted to the thorns. That's why the prayers are secret. So I'm going to read just one more from this and then read two. I don't know how much time I have, and I don't want to be totally boring.
Go for
I
it.
can't really flail my arms and be like a YMCA or something. There's one thing that they tell you always in creative writing classes when you're an undergrad and when you're a grad, which is don't write in the passive voice. I don't know if it always happens, like no ing, like, you know, very active voice. And I like the idea of passive voice as a metaphor for people who are like displaced or people who are going through situations where they have no control of their ground. So this section is called passive voice. And I'm going to read one piece from here, I think. Maybe not. But anyway, 5-4, passive voice. The sun sets in the spine. She turns the page and misspells his eyes, scours her inseam with orange peels in the dark. But she doesn't recognize his fingers. He steams from her, basically, like thiamine, a second skin secreted from without herself. Invisibly, the statement follows by induction. When considering that there exists an ordering such that the variable n denotes the dimension of the corresponding complex space, let's take, for example, the word internment. Invisibly, the statements repeat themselves because you're not watching the page. Internment. A room balloons. Beyond its sills, border patrols convey our isosceles comings and goings toward a perfectly elastic supply curve for labor under the guise of a national agricultural initiative. The other day, I watched a woman work soil from stone, and even my cough assembled slower. A relief tendered from a single glacier, all this rain transgressing, called back into being and being lost. They give us everything here. I would be eating crow if I complained. They are kind, feed us. But I spend hours arranging peppercorns, stick figures in the throes of a waltz, a pair of spectacles. I had my own orchard. I miss it. Here we are just pacing. We chew cured beef, dried apricots, sleep a bit, and talk. We are talking so much. So, how am I doing? Am I okay? I'm going to have some water because I'm realizing that I'm not being able to speak right now. So what I want to do is, I think, read two pieces from the new collection and then sort of be good.
Yeah.
So the new collection is, like I said, based on redaction, and there are images, and I don't know whether or not you'll be able to see them. I could do this like show and tell. I do work in an elementary school. Boys and girls. This.
Show it off.
You don't realize how much fun show and tell is until you work in an elementary school, by the way. And they say the best stuff. Oh, no, it's, I won't be able to read it then.
Oh, no problem.
Thief? I'm kidding. No. I'll pass them to you. No, I'll pass them to you. I had the story I always like to tell, and I have to tell this really fast, is you hear, I love words, right? So I hear random stuff that I think is really cool. Someone said earlier, I don't know where the conversation happened, but I heard, oh my God, I lost it. It was someone you were really scared of. You were having a conversation upstairs, and you said, I was really scared of, or I was like deathly afraid of some actor or director or artist.
Oh, Albert Brooks.
Right. I was deathly afraid of Albert Brooks, and it's like totally out of context. And I was like, that is the best sentence ever. And I had a student named Noah, and Noah was magical. Noah came up to me one day, and he's in the 2nd grade, and he sort of pulls on my pants leg, and they all call me Mr. Justin, which I find really disturbing. And they're like, Mr. Justin, Mr. Justin. Yes, Noah. And he looked at me, he's like, I put glitter on my wrestler. Want to see? And it was like so shady. He was like, want to see? And I was like, you know, I mean, and it was like, you know, that creepy, like, you know, when you see like twins and like a little, like childhood twins in a horror movie, you're like, oh shit, all hell is about to break loose. He said that to me, and I was like, oh my God. And he opens his backpack and pulls out a doll. It was like a Hulk Hogan doll, covered head to toe in purple glitter. Oh my God. And I was like, you're mine. Like, you're the best ever. So like, he's just the wackest kid ever. He's so cool and like so out there. He's like, want to see? And just head to toe. I'm like, your mom's gonna kill me because you trashed your toy, but you are cool. So anyway, I've just done the thumbs up way too many times. I feel like really, I'm like, hey, give him the guns, guys. Sorry. Anyway, so back to the project. I mentioned earlier that the text that I redacted from was about maps and the shape of the planet and its folklore. And I redacted it, and I tried to make poems that were political and had reference to sort of things that I'm interested in and Carl is interested in, as far as like the politics of a similar way, the politics of the body and moving around a city. And there was a quote from Michel de Certeau that was scrolling earlier, but basically he talks about the act of speaking in the same way as like walking through a map, where there are certain set rules, but you break those rules to get where you need to go, and you make that space your own. And I feel like in these poems with the redactions, I was basically making those little maps. Like if you draw a line from the first word to the bottom of the page, and that's your little map, and I just sort of blacked out everything that was in between. And so a lot of the metaphors and the stuff in the book ended up being about mapping. And a story I told earlier, there were images in the book, and Carla, who was doing the drawings, hadn't seen them, and halfway through, she finally looked at them, and they were sort of the same kind of two-dimensional, flat, kind of had that sort of, just by accident, just sort of have the similar style as a lot of the drawings and maps in the book. So I thought that was really cool, and I wanted to do that. So I'm going to read a poem right now called Flagging Procession. I'm going to read the algorithm that opens it and then just go right into the poem. Flagging Procession. Algorithm. The rice they offer, turned. She swallows, locks every compartment. Like a shell it looks, like a tadpole, a claw, a comma. Flagging Procession. Ashes in the speeches, enclosed in the radio mines. Dog-headed men suck their food. Through these reeds, perhaps, but we never follow. Her travelogue's arrows indicate where police continue to assert themselves, begin to feel our collars spark like a treadle, like a hypothesis, or the span of a trapeze is an autumn of yellow tornadoes in a tinderbox. Pause for the filibuster, but the motion carried every pensioner to pavement. Too many empty pillows in our for instances, fistfuls of glances because everyone is a tourist. Who interrogates a pawnbroker, pencils his torso. With debts as with memory, there are many stories, between whose floors we disappear again. Pigeons faucet from a tenement window. And the last piece that I'm going to read is called Topography from Silence. Which actually is a play on because in rhetoric, there's the argument from silence is a kind of construct that you use. So because I replaced the arguments with algorithms, algorithm. So topography from silence, algorithm. Eyes estranged, the epitome of egg-shaped, dividing air. Any resemblance we may have to causation, compressed sediment, no means of exit. No coagulation. Topography from silence. How many shares express a workforce, an immigration particular to itself, its departures, as incentive, a shirt expressed by a wrist? She has that headache of liberation. What is not capital has not yet been determined, but the lemons taste of carbon and liaisons in the cargo hold. What is the capacity of analogy? Or thin-skinned lemons, for that matter, strains within an outbreak, at a restaurant dimly populated with curious, of the space between stories sometimes, each within the next, tiny harm of streets, bruises your eye. But in revision, he is too familiar to draw straws with an unknown operator, the oldest recorded. At least nothing is recognized as coming from her, practically stripped of references. Refugees comb glyphic through this space, built on the songbones of a cardinal. A belief that space follows speech, that spectacle is story, is verdict, and feedback victims of border spending borrow their sovereignty against the thatched roofs of their mouths. Strangers on orange bicycles who tighten the factory suspension of disbelief, ignore their own skin, that surrounding fabric incapable of being the extent of surface. She cannot measure beyond the limits of perfect motion. He seemed asleep, without a sound, generating a kind of consequence friction. Beyond the lines of landlords is darkness, beyond darling is data, and beyond the last beyond, snow and onions, at the rehearsals for citizenship. And then soldiers, once again, nothing to eat, if somewhere I can fix it. He gave us. the blast mortality figures. So little has been done with these pictures. She shows surprise in her eyebrows. We were covered together behind the window, a portrait of oblique lovers, scent of holly, of magnetized videotape, and honey, that place still generating prey for unobstructed speech. But it's an empty shell without hostages in the listening position. An extended fog where it's impossible for us to speak. The ropes were all stretched. We were tissue weight, remember? What's the matter when you think about silence? I ask gloves. You said containing many nurses, surrounding a bell, a cyclist in the rain. The relief just before a stranger speaks your name. I know someone, you said, who travels only in that way, as if bodies were not mixed up with the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And now I can see again. And now I
you
can
can
see
see
I
again.
can see everybody. Okay, good.
That was really cool. Yes.
Got my water.
Justin Petropoulos, thank you so much,
Yeah,
man. That was
thank
really
you.
awesome.
Oh boy.
And the beer has fallen.
And something fell,
We've had a
but
tragic
I
accident.
think we're okay.
I think everything.
That was like when one of the Munchkins hung themselves during the Wizard of Oz.
It was a
I'm
fan.
that depressing. That's not good at all. That's not what I was going for. Am I that depressing?
Hostages in the listening position.
Yes,
Hostages in the listening
that caught my ear too. Yeah,
Didn't it really?
It did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah.
That's a good.
I
pull.
just I mean like I'm addicted to TV just as much as the next guy. If you know,
Right.
I mean I have literally weekend like watched entire series like over the
Yeah.
weekend. Like Netflix has become crack. Like it's not
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally like
Yeah.
I'm like I can watch the entire season today. Like it's where's my Red Bull? Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not okay.
And it's very strange, but not abnormal.
I've watched
Right.
4 seasons of Alphas in like a day and a half. Like you know what I mean? Like I don't even think
I
there
was
was
watching
Mad
that.
Men.
Absorb it,
new
right.
episodes of Alphas.
Yeah, out
Yay.
today.
Just download it.
That's it.
Just
Yeah,
Netflix
and I'm
it.
a West Wing freak. Like
I've been watching Orange Is the New Black lately.
So
I
has
haven't- I haven't-
everybody.
I have not seen it.
Hasn't
It's quite-
every
yeah,
single
it's quite
person
good.
you've talked to this week said, "Have you been watching Orange Is the New Black?" Because that's
Yeah.
happened to me.
I have not. I'm the only
Every
one.
person I've talked to.
It's a lonely place.
It's a conspiracy to get Orange to be popular.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Plus,
So watch Alphas.
But you have to
Just
watch. You have to
up
watch it,
until
or
this
else
point,
you're
it's your
lonely at the
life,
water
yeah.
cooler. You have nothing to say to your
Uh-huh.
coworkers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Nope.
Everyone I know watches The Bachelorette, and that's the other thing.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
wait,
I'm missing
that's a
out.
show.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter like more frequently than most and less frequently than everyone I know, and a lot of my friends are like my partner Carla she's on like 17 social networks. It's frightening. I don't even
Yeah.
know. I have to like everything on every page. Like it's a lot. But poets that I respect, like Kevin Young, who's a former professor of mine, brilliant poet, and one of my favorite books ever, which I taught, which is called To Repel Ghosts, which is about the 80s art world and Basquiat, and it is a brilliant book, but all he does is like tweet about watching The Bachelorette, and I'm like, I sent him a letter. I was like, what's going on at your house? Like what, I mean, I'm just like, what's up with The Bachelorette? I feel like
It's
I
a
should
tough
join
life.
in.
You got to do some dumb shit sometimes.
I wanna.
He's like, Twitter's for downtime.
The Bachelorette. Is
Yeah.
fine. No, I mean, now I feel like I need to watch it. Like I need. To
She's
get in.
single, right?
But I mean, that's right. I guess. I mean,
Okay,
hoping.
that's-
If not, it would
I
be a
don't-
really bad
Spoiler
joke.
guy.
Yeah.
That's the show I'd actually like to watch.
She
Like,
might not be.
surprise!
As much
Like,
as
I'm
those
married.
shows are scripted sometimes. You never know. She's
I think the point is that she ends up not single.
Right.
Obviously.
It's a goal-oriented show.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
There's voting, I believe.
Is there voting?
There's a rose, maybe.
Okay. 12% of people vote in like off-year elections, but like a million people vote for the Bachelorette's boyfriend. I find that really seriously.
I think we
sad.
should just combine the
Priorities,
man.
presidency
I think we should
and the
just
bachelorette
figure
into
out-
one
register to vote.
and have
Yes.
the first female president
priorities.
bachelorette.
Be chosen
Yeah.
by 14
All in
year-old
one
girls.
big shebang.
Big surprise.
I'm not sure.
everybody.
I'm not sure that's breaking down the,
Yeah.
the walls that we're looking to break down with the first
Right.
female
Yeah.
president. I think
Yeah.
that's.
Right.
Although those like fake prom dresses are really.
I kind
fun.
of imagine those will be roughly the circumstances, though.
If it was
When it
if it was
happens.
a radical feminist or somebody that's radical enough to take the format of the show Bachelorette and F all those Hollywood people and use that format in just the right way,
With that,
There's
she'd
a
have
lot,
my
There's
vote.
a lot of you know what I'm
She'd
gonna get
have my
I'm gonna
vote.
get
I don't
hurt
know
right now
about
because
that.
there's like
Well,
3
what
or
kind
4
of
visual
effing?
artists who are doing stuff like that right now online, like on YouTube, and doing performance pieces, and I don't remember any of their names. And every artist who I know who's done that, it just flew out right in my head, guys. So I'm not shouting you out because there's no love. It's just because I have a very hollow space.
We can add some links on the archive too,
Right,
as
okay.
well after
So
the fact.
I'm
When
gonna
you
go I'm just
remember
gonna make a
them.
beeping noise, and that's where the name that you insert name beep
Just
insert
open your,
name
just
here.
leave your
Yeah.
mouth open,
Yeah.
and we'll put him in later.
How's
Awesome.
that?
That's great. Yeah.
Oh, and who else? What was the last one you said too?
I don't even know what I was talking about last.
Oh, I was cueing you to do another one.
Oh, that's-
I think I'm pretty sure it was.
See, this is why I don't do visual. I didn't even get the improv cue. I was like, wait, what are you talking about? I ruined it.
Yeah.
I ruined the joke.
I'm
I'm terrible.
Yeah,
I'm bad at
go
this.
For it, Dean.
But and is there?
And there we go.
Can we mention some web pages or something that the people at home can find of your poetry and such? Justin?
Yes, I think that. Web pages. That's. Do you spell them out? Do I hold a little cue?
I don't
Well,
know.
first of all,
We'll help you out.
The,
Don't
the
worry
new
about
book, the new book that's coming out, that's a collaboration with Carla and I, is on Jaded Ibis Press, and that's the website is jadedibisproductions.com. Deborah De Blasi and
Deborah
De Blasi.
De
De Blasi is her
De
name.
Blasi.
I'm probably saying it wrong, and she's gonna hurt me later too. But
Yeah, we're just trying to say
and-
it as phonetically as possible.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
De Blasi.
and that's the Legend project.
Legend,
Yeah.
which is a book and also a project which is gonna. It's Deborah De Blasi and Sam Witt, who's the poetry editor there, and it started off as this book project, but it's gonna end up at Transfer Gallery here in Brooklyn. So their website is transfergallery.com.
Transfergallery.com.
And they are awesome. It's
And you said September 7th.
September
is gonna
7th. Kalani Nicole and Jeremy. Jeremy, I forgot your last name. It's escaping me right now. I can see it in the Facebook thing, but I can't spell it. They're amazing at Transfer Gallery. They're doing incredible stuff with digital art. And the stuff that Carla's producing for that show is all beyond the stuff from in the book. So there's going to be 3D projection, video,
Cool.
Animations of some of the drawings. There's going to be animations of the algorithms that you saw earlier. We've mapped some of the images and some of the text to globes in a computer space. I sound like such a moron right now. On the computer space. The internet. Anyway, and then she's printing them as 3D globes with a 3D printer. So they're like all very textured, and they come out looking like landscapes. So each of the terrains has sort of been remapped into an actual terrain.
That sounds awesome.
And then there's going to be the actual hand drawings.
I saw the video you guys have up on one of the pages there of the globe that's moving. That really blew
Right,
my
on
mind.
the-
That's really cool.
On her Vimeo page, on Carla Gannis's Vimeo page. Just Google Carla Gannis, and there's tons of stuff. And Carla's webpage is carlagannis.com. I am currently without webpage.
But where can people see your ebooks though, and
You can
how does
see
somebody read your books?
Well,
Yeah,
you can. I
it-
mean, that's the thing. The original book, Eminent Domain, which is the first manuscript, you can get it on Amazon
Eminent domain.
or those kind of places, and also you can go to the Marshhawk. It's put out by Marshhawk Press. So marshhawkpress.com is their website, and I'm on there as one of their authors.
As in a hawk from the marsh.
It is-
Marsh
it is a
hawk.
from the marsh.
Marsh hawk.
which
Press.
I imagine is pretty successful at hunting usually.
And it looks like this.
in
Don't
the
we look
marsh.
alike?
Cool.
Don't
Yeah,
I look
awesome.
like my puppy? Don't we look alike?
That's
But,
great to actually have a publication on the show. That was the first publication on the show, Justin. Thank you for.
First publication
honoring that.
I cuddle with it at night.
Yeah, very cool.
But the second book is coming
As
out
you
as a
should.
print edition on Jaded Ibis Press, which is Legend will be on that. And but then there'll be that'll be out in September, and then in February there'll be an ebook. I always get it wrong, but I
An
think it's an
iBook?
iBook.
That sounds new.
Yeah,
An ebook.
an ebook. Well, I think it actually is an iBook technically.
That's pretty
Spanish.
wild.
Which is super cool. And there'll be and one of the things one of the things about the iBook or the ebook or whatever digital version of this happens.
The ebook.
The book. Right. Is that in the gallery and on a website, what we're going to do is people are going to get full text of mine, put in a paragraph, and then the image that goes along with it. And you'll be able to, either with a mouse or if you have a touch screen, redact it into like 120 characters,
Cool.
tweet size thing. And as you redact it, you'll also change the image. So it'll shrink and morph and there'll be pieces removed. And all of those images and the text we're going to compile and put as an appendix in the iBook. So everyone who participates will, be
pretty
authors
wild.
of the back end of the book.
So how does somebody get to do that?
We'll probably probably put it up at the beginning of the gallery show, and then it'll just stay up.
Alright.
It is currently in development.
Of course.
The
It
person
sounds
the person
very
developing it is
involved.
actually named. His name is Eric Reaper, and he is a genius. I'd like to say that, Eric, you're a genius.
Eric Weeper.
Eric Reaper. with
Reaper.
an R. He's doing crazy stuff, and it's we could not do it without him.
Sounds amazing.
It
Yeah.
sounds ridiculous,
Yeah.
actually.
So it's super cool. And programming language to me, I look at it and I'm just like, yeah, what? I want to know. I want. Will someone teach me how to program? No, anyone? No.
No, not in this room.
No love?
sorry.
Okay.
Not
Tough,
from here.
tough
yeah.
crowd.
Fine, tough room. Okay, well then I
Yeah.
should have brought my slinky. Then those are always entertaining.
Yeah, aren't they?
No, maybe not.
We don't
Redact a
have any
slinky.
stairs.
Redact the slinky. I wear a slinky.
Be a redaction of it.
Just saying, it could be that kind of show.
You have to. So many great things you can use a slinky for, but you have to like destroy it to make it.
Are there
any of
so
those?
many great things you can do with a
Yeah,
slinky?
sure.
Yes,
you can play
yes.
telephone or make a necklace or pretend it's your lower intestines or there's all kinds of great
Pretend
things.
it's your lower intestines.
Yeah.
Next week,
You were
Slinky
fun
show.
at parties. I won.
Yeah,
Party
give me a
together?
slinky. You got a
There
slinky,
go.
especially the kind that's orange on one side and yellow on the other.
You're right. Whoa.
Well, thank you so much, Justin, for joining us. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, we're gonna also put on the archive the web pages. I would encourage everybody to check out the ebooks and to check out the work that you're doing.
That would be
Very
super
cool.
awesome. Thank you very much for
Awesome.
having me. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Justin. Awesome.
So Justin Petropoulos, legend, eminent domain.
Yeah, I was before the show tonight. I was looking through that stuff, eminent domain and legend. It's really mind blowing. So we were showing some of it on the backdrop. Oh, did we lose a light?
No, don't worry about it.
And I think what happened is that's plugged in behind the bed, and it's probably didn't lose a bulb, but it. Oh wait, we're live.
But we're still having a show, so
You got me there. We are.
I believe that we
Still
would
green.
usually talk about something else at this point, but maybe we should probably just run right into our next bit.
I think just for timing, we should run right into it, and
Why not?
I really would like to also because it's an exciting, awesome bit we're about
It
to
is,
start, right?
Yeah.
And I think those of you who are watching, seen a few unique things to Inside the Sulphurbath this week. We've had a few production faux pas, most likely.
Well,
So,
everybody home should know we're doing like the advanced
for
green screen
watching
version
that.
of the show.
Yeah.
So we would have put up a little slate that said technical difficulties throughout
we
the
don't
entire
have one.
show.
It's still green.
We actually have a
But we
technical
don't have one.
difficulty to report technical difficulties.
It's still working. So
Yeah.
So
so
we'll be setting up and talking to.
I'm gonna give you
Paradise
guys a
Club when
topic
they're-
to discuss amongst yourselves while I check on
yeah.
the slide over here.
You're gonna put some stuff together.
I
I got to duck out.
Rhode
See
Island?
my man.
Neither a road.
Rhode
nor
Island.
an
Somebody
island.
mentioned Rhode Island to me recently. Yeah. Do you know
The Muffin Man.
those weird clams they have in England that you put a little salt on the sand?
What?
And the
Oh,
clam
razor
comes-
clams.
Razor clams.
It's pretty
disgust.
pretty frightening.
That's what
Um,
you leave on.
I'll fill you guys in. We were watching this last night.
I'm not really aware of
So
these clams.
in I believe it was Cornwall,
Okay.
which is I have no idea, England,
Yeah.
Cornwall.
somewhere in there. But I believe it's the place where Arthur Dent lives from
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide.
Okay.
Anyways, you can go to the shore apparently, and you can put some salt on the shore, close to where the water is breaking, and you will possibly or maybe always. It's hard to tell from YouTube because they only show the successes, obviously. A strange protrusion will happen from the sand, just
As
like
in
a thing
protrusion,
will
like-
stick out.
Like
Like a foot.
As opposed to sort of like almost like a broomstick handle has
Right.
emerged,
That's filthy.
about that size. Just comes out about 6 to 10 inches,
yeah. What
and
kind
then
of what kind of angle
you'll
of it?
grab it
Is it like squishy?
and pull it out. Well, it's a clam. It has a shell. So you know a mussel. A mussel has like 2 really long shells, and then it's got a clam living inside there.
Yes, correct.
Whoa.
Well, a mussel living
Yeah.
inside there.
Okay.
Same idea.
But it's like
So-
that part's called the foot, right? Like the or like a
Don't ask
I don't
me.
know, man.
You're telling
Is
me.
England like is
apparently.
Alice in Wonderland a true story? Because England they got razor clams coming up. They got
Yeah.
foxes that follow you down
It
the-
might
to the
absolutely be a
hotel.
true story.
This place is
Yeah, Cornwall.
yeah,
England.
England.
We've been there, Mike.
Oh, I thought you said New England.
So yeah.
No.
So these things exist, and I highly recommend anybody search YouTube for catching razor clams or just razor clams will probably bring you there, and it'll
Yeah.
blow your mind. I
Make sure you have
promise.
safe search on.
Unless you've seen everything that's ever happened, and then you might not be impressed by it. But it's pretty ridiculous.
I don't know. Did you ever see those crabs that cross over like a whole island?
No?
They migrate.
Yeah?
It's pretty great. It's
They
like
have a
once
reason
you-
for that?
Yeah, they want to get to the other side of the island. For I don't know why.
It's better
Something's-
over there.
That's where they go
It's
to
like
die or
one
something.
long basketball
Don't they know
trail.
the grass
Yeah.
is always greener?
Yeah, but they do
Slide
it
to the left
like
or the right.
once a year. Once a year, they go. There's like a million of them. And they go crossing the island from one side to the other. These little red crabs.
All
And they're
sideways.
in your house. They're in your driveway. You're driving over them with your car. They're all over the place.
How is that
They show up in your
beneficial
shower.
for these crabs?
They don't know. They just want to get on the other side of the island.
That doesn't. That
Then they
doesn't
get
work
there,
out.
they fall
so
off
this
a
is
cliff.
in Hawaii, you said?
They go there and fall off a cliff.
Hawaii?
I don't know, some crazy island in the
Some island.
South Pacific.
Some island in the ocean somewhere.
That's where I grew up. In an island in the sky.
I went to an island in the ocean
Little
once. I've been
crabs.
to Jamaica. You guys been to islands in the ocean before?
Only islands in the ocean.
We got this
Only
long
the-
island.
Yeah, Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, what do you got there? Vancouver?
Well,
That
Been
island
to
from
Vancouver.
Goonies.
no, it's more of like Squim. It's a place
Squim.
called Squim. There's a place called Vashon Island.
Where is this?
These are all
More globally, because I have no idea where Squim is.
So it's
And what was the other
Within
one?
the
Vash
Puget-
Vashquim?
within the Puget Sound of Washington State, off of.
That's got to be small, though, right?
Washington
Yeah.
State.
How small is it?
I mean, they're not like large islands, but
Are there indigenous people?
no.
Okay.
Okay. No, forgive
they've
me.
left.
There's just very wealthy people living on those
Oh, I
islands.
see.
Oh, so they're more like a governor's island,
Correct.
as opposed to
I've
like
never
a,
actually been to Governor's Island.
as
I've
opposed
been
to
to
like a
Alcatraz.
Galapagos
I
island.
I was on
This
Alcatraz
area,
Island
really.
once.
Oh yeah?
Been here
Yeah.
for 2
How was
years,
that? Did you get the
so-
tour?
Yeah, I got the
No
tour.
idea.
It was awesome. You go there and you go and they're like, oh, this is Al Capone's cell. And you're like, is it really? And they're like, well, we don't really know what Al Capone's cell is. It looks a lot like this
They're
one.
basically
you're
rotated
like,
a
they're all
lot,
the
so it
same.
doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. And then their claim to fame is that some people might have escaped. That's it. You go there and they're
Yeah.
like, this is the cell, and this,
This is
is
a
the
good
dummy
jail.
head they use.
Yeah, I
and
just
there's a
think of
hole in the
I just
wall.
think of the Clint
best
Eastwood
jail that
movie,
ever existed.
Escape
Some
from
Yeah.
people
Alcatraz.
may have escaped.
He's like, I'm out this.
Have you been to Alcatraz, Mike?
I have been to Alcatraz.
Yeah, right?
Did you
Yeah.
Did you get the tour?
I escaped
Did
right
you see
from
Al
it.
Capone's cell?
Al Capone. I remember the Birdman story, and I remember San Francisco and Pier 39 with all the sea lions.
Yeah.
And I was there as a tourist. I was not arrested and put through the
Yeah, I
criminal
don't think it
justice
was a
system.
jail. It's
Do-
been-
do
it
people
hasn't
get-
been since like 68 or
Oh,
something.
Yeah,
really?
that's what I was gonna say. It's pretty much a tourist attraction. So.
And then the
Except for,
X-Men.
How
used
old are
it,
you?
right?
You probably didn't have the
I'm-
opportunity.
I'm 34 years old.
But I mean, what year is that?
Ratner's X-Men.
78.
78. Yeah. So you were a good like 10 years off of even having a chance to be in Alcatraz.
Oh, like the 1-year-old who robbed a bank. That was like, oh, he was in there in like
All
10
right.
years. Just
11
enough time.
years.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Nitpicker.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Like, you know, if
Minor
If-
theft.
if living were a crime, you'd be guilty since birth.
That
Just made that up.
That's
Just made it up.
fantastic.
Made that shit right up right now.
Thanks for
Wow.
Good job.
Yeah.
Great job.
that. But
I
yeah,
like the juxtaposition
I
of
think it's
words.
one of you guys' turn to make up
I
something
just think it's important
sounds better than that.
to recognize. Are
Yeah.
we trying to waste time right now?
Heck no.
Because it feels a little bit
In my
like
life, you mean? Like
that. No. I
that's-
mean,
oh.
are we
We're
waiting
moving
for
on.
something to get started here?
No, we're about to be hit by a bolt of lightning in the side of the face.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Have you guys ever experienced that?
No.
I don't like how
Not
this is
yet.
going to end.
Yeah.
I'm looking
But
forward to
in
it.
pure rush of electromagnetic energy from
Wow.
one of our
Wow.
one of our favorite bands. So come on out, Paradise Club. They're gonna come and sit with us and talk to us for a little bit first, and then they're gonna do a live performance. And we need to. Yeah. So you guys, however it works.
When's he last?
All right.
Eric, you can sit here. Do the shuffle. Kiowa Hammons, Eric Trosko.
Hey.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. Thanks for
Good.
having us.
Yeah, really cool.
All
Yeah.
right.
So we're just
Thank you
sitting in
very
this
much.
little pre-performance section right now. I wanted to ask you guys a few questions and maybe have you set up the performance you're going to do.
All right. Sorry, Blaine and Trevor. You guys can sit. All right.
We're all cuddled.
Oh,
we're all
man.
campfire cuddled
I
up, but
see
we are short on
tears.
mics. So
All right.
let's explain to people how much
Mike
fun
and the
we are.
mics. Short on
So
mics. All right.
short mics on mics.
I think the real issue is we don't have enough chairs. Actually.
no, we do have enough
What?
chairs. We just do
There's
not have
4.
enough. We don't have enough mics. We don't have enough mic stands.
It's like that episode of Family Guy where Peter's long lost relative says, that heaven's great, but there's a shortage of chairs.
All right.
There's a shortage of chairs.
That is hell. So how are you guys doing today?
Good,
What's your
good.
summer been like? You guys have performed a few times this summer already, haven't you?
We just did an acoustic show in Long Island City a few weeks ago, and it was really hot because it was right in the middle of the heat wave.
There's a lot of construction workers there.
Yeah.
And outdoors. Was
Yeah.
there like weird construction sound happening during
Mhm.
like with you guys?
But we like that.
Yeah,
Think
it all
about
worked.
that.
I saw the
Trains.
images of that show. It looked really cool. It looked very shamanistic or something.
Yeah, I was hallucinating
Yeah.
from the heat.
From the heat,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Getting
I put my
hydration.
neck out
Yeah.
too, so I was on a lot of Advil and heat, and it was
Just have
just,
that Advil high going.
Yes, that was me. Less facial hair.
It also featured Child Ninja Dance.
Child ninja dance? What's
Ninja.
that?
Ninja.
Child
Ninja
Ninja
dance.
Dance, yeah.
Oh.
Which I think is illegal.
Did you have
in
a
the state
child
of New York.
ninja there?
Yeah, we did.
And also, I didn't know ninjas danced.
Yeah,
They don't often.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's a secret,
Little known
secret
fact.
dance.
Let alone.
Ninjas
Yeah.
are very secretive.
That's how they're so
When
swift
ninjas
and
get
silent.
together,
is
all
they're
they
actually
can do is
dancing.
dance.
If you're lucky enough, a ninja will dance for you before they kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was
how it
thinking
goes.
about it. You give a ballerina a knife, and what do you got? A ninja.
A ninja.
Yeah.
A ballerina
How
with
graceful.
a knife.
Sneaking up on you.
A
Gracefully,
confused
silently.
ballerina.
Right.
And I'd like to say that's
The red
that's how our
shoes.
music is. It's like a graceful ballerina with a knife.
It's not like the red shoes.
Yes. The plot of the
Falling
red
out
shoes.
of a window. Yeah.
Our music's like the plot of the red shoes.
I can see some of that in there. That's a good thing for us to talk about, right? Your guys' music is
I never saw that
kind of
movie.
unique. It kind of comes from this place that I think I've seen other people, a bunch of different people define in different ways. So, do you guys have a specific way that you define what your music is?
Well, I'd say it's more layered. I mean, I think the process of how we write songs is someone just kind of comes up with something, and then the other person thinks of something to add to it, and we just kind of create a lot of layers, and then like just peel off the layers that don't work in the end. So it's very sculptural, I guess.
Tactile.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how long
You have to feel it. I think that's the problem with recording. You can't feel the music while you're recording it.
Mhm.
Well, we
While
also
you're
play
playing
really
it.
loud, so it's like if someone's ears aren't bleeding, then it's not working.
Yeah,
I'd
to
say
get that
that's
same
a-
feeling while it's being recorded is a really hard thing to achieve.
Sure.
And I'd say that's a challenge of recording is that
Mhm.
you feel it one way in real life, and that's something you get from live music and
Mhm.
just going and seeing somebody play. But then when you get down and try and record it, you're trying to capture that same thing, and it's often not going to come through exactly the way you expected
Yeah.
it to.
Right.
Yeah, we just actually finished recording another album, and
Yeah.
we're mixing it now. And it's a great experience because you can listen back and hear what you're doing and what you're progressing on. But it's so painful to try to you're just constantly thinking and second guessing yourself of is this what we sound like? I don't know.
Mhm.
And so it's
And
all
you guys are
tough.
working
yeah.
with a different engineer this time, right? So you've seen the span
Yeah.
of what it can be like when somebody else is recording you.
Yeah,
You've had
yeah.
maybe 3 or 4 people recording you at this point, right?
yes,
Yeah.
including Mike Wilson,
Mike Wilson was the first, I
the
believe,
first.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Other than our iPhones.
The iPhones themselves are doing pretty good these days.
Right.
Yeah, now we're
Yeah.
working with Cedar Apple of Alligator Lady.
Alligator
Studios.
Lady, yeah.
Cool.
Is Cedar Apple a person's name?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
By coincidence.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't mean
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he has a
offensive by
nice.
saying that.
I everyone we've recorded with or played with. I mean, it's always. I think it's good to just change it up and get that unique sound. I think for the new songs that we have, it's almost strangely no wave, new wavy,
Mhm.
a lot of lyrics. So
Yeah.
it's a nice combo.
It's in process.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think we're in maybe the second to last phase. I think we still have a couple more mix downs to do.
It's never ending.
Yeah.
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 That's an
No.
exciting phase to be in, though. You feel like
Yeah,
the most of
yeah.
the brunt of the work is done. And
Yeah.
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 Just some tweaks to go. But
Cool. Is there a release date set yet?
No.
no.
Maybe never.
Sometime in
Okay.
the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe in the
Yeah.
fall.
Certainly not
But
now.
we'll
Maybe
all the
early
fans will be
winter.
looking forward to some other release party at some point in the future.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you guys been together now?
It's been
It's been over 2 years. This album or this group kind of came out of the ashes of another band where we were playing a little more straightforward jazz rock.
2011, I
instrumental.
think,
Yeah.
right? 2011 was the transition into what we are now.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where you have a show, and we had just kind of broken up the band we were in, and Eric had a show and he was going to perform. He was like, "Oh, you should play with me," and it was that question of, well, what do we do? And then Eric just showed up with this humongous Moog, and it was like, oh, well, let's just go electronic with it. And so we just kind of focused more on synths, and then everything else just kind of fell naturally into
Cool.
it. But it was more of the stress of having to start up something new that kind of propelled it into something. And the name, the song titles, all that stuff just came on the cuff.
Yeah, I found it very interesting when you guys went from your previous band to the new incarnation that you're doing now. It was kind of like a rebirth in many ways. You guys went for something totally different, basically.
Yeah.
But you still, I mean, you still retain. I feel you still retain a lot of the things that were good about what Starlight was doing, but at the same time, it's radically different now. It's like that kind of reinvention was really cool to see, and just bearing it down. You guys used to be in what 4 or 5 people in your band before, and now it's just the two of you.
Yeah. I feel like we're coming back to that in a way. It's going back to the more like funky soul sounds in a strange way.
Cool.
That we had
I always
with
loved that
Starlight.
about Starlight. Yeah, you had what that was his
So
name.
there's some-
Till
there's
or
some-
the
there's
guy
some
who was
of-
on bass.
There's some of that on the new album.
Cool.
Yeah, and then the tune we're doing tonight is so new it's not even on the new album.
Also,
so,
tonight's
yeah.
a debut song from
Debut,
Paradise Club.
yeah.
So new, we just thought of it.
Yeah.
But
Wow, cool.
Yeah, and I think the other thing about doing duo ensembles is nice because we always, Les is doing our visuals tonight, and it's always great to have this kind of open collaboration.
Yeah.
I mean, Eric paints, and I work in the arts, and we're both like very visually art minded, and so I think the music, we're looking at that in a sculptural and a textual sense, and so it's nice to have this kind of open collaboration. Keeping it as 2 people, it leaves so much more space to have other people kind of come in and come out and do that, so it's nice.
Cool. And so debut song tonight.
Yes.
And then are you guys going to talk to us again a little bit afterward, or are you going to...
I mean, you're going to run up Johnny Carson style with the mic, right?
Yeah, we talked about that. Should we do that? Okay.
So
Let's
does
do it.
the song have a name that you want to say, or
Yes,
you want to leave it
it's-
to the song?
It's called The Bifurcated Man. It's a sad story. It's dedicated to Walt Whitman and William S. Burroughs, and it's about the
Simultaneously?
city.
It's got
Yeah.
everything. The
It's
song
a dark
has everything.
Song.
Wow.
It's a dark song. I don't.
Sounds deep. Sounds very New York.
I will say that it's a lot easier to write dark lyrics than happy lyrics. I will say that.
Happy lyrics are very easy to come across as
Yeah,
cheesy.
but you can see
Tell that
right
to
through
Bobby
them,
McFerrin.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I
because
mean.
he does
You
mouth
have a
sounds.
endless amount of
happy
popular.
mouth sounds. That's different.
Like you ever seen the minor version of that where it's really sad, Bobby McFerrin, just like, no.
It's like sad Keanu. Like, oh, he's
Sad
at a
Keanu.
bench. He's so sad. Sad Bobby McFerrin.
But that's cool. And so what's the new album called? Do you have a name for it yet? Dun, dun, dun.
That's still in progress.
Yeah.
Does
We're
it have
working on that.
a color?
Ooh.
Last one was pretty black and
Magenta,
pink.
maybe? I don't know.
All right.
I will
the
say,
new
though,
album,
and maybe
magenta related.
right.
I'm thinking
and
silver, maybe.
silver works.
Yeah.
Magenta
But I will
with
say the
accents of
hardest
silver?
thing. Yes.
Well, we always have magenta.
Yeah.
The hardest thing with that, I think, with a band, and anyone can disagree, is it's always coming up with name titles, band
I know.
name, all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, you're trying to codify or like just put
Yeah.
something that's not too much giving away what you're trying to say, and at the same time descriptive to get somebody who wants to listen to it.
Right.
There's also those online band generator names. I know, Justin, you reminded me of this earlier when you were
The
talking
Leaky
about the
Mules.
algorithm online. And you pick how many words you want in your band name and if
Right.
there's any special word. And yeah, suddenly you get Impact Strained Venus.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
You
great.
know?
That's so fucking awesome.
They just take a
That's
bunch of
actually
words
pretty
and
good.
smash them
Oh, yeah.
together.
You want to do a side project?
Hell yeah. We're already doing it. It's just this show in reverse with somebody doing like, I don't know,
Yeah,
C
we just
sharp
put a
minor.
beats on that.
Somebody playing triangle.
If
that's
we
it.
could get sad Bobby
Triangle.
McFerrin on this.
We could. Yeah, we could probably do that.
So you guys
Cool.
about ready to start
Yeah,
playing?
let's do it.
We're gonna
All
we're
right.
gonna do this. Let's go. And tonight's performance, green screen chroma keyed, visuals by Leslie Hodgkins, Paradise Club.
Right.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Paradise
you.
Club Live.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's hear it.
Coast selling knives. Babies in carriages bringing us uniforms. Government book on earphones made of hot saliva. Sacrifices on oil grown fires to the lotto gods. Widows passing judgment on the bloated crowd. Chirping birds selling socks along the phone wires. A wannabe Fumio on the radio bragging about his art collection. With a refrigerator humming beats for the revolution. What I want to know. What I need to know is how to shake your head. How you shake your head. 'Cause I gotta know. Where's the fire now?
All right, Paradise Club. That was really amazing.
Yeah.
For anybody at home that lost signal and was smart enough to refresh their page, thanks for being with us still. But we did lose the signal during that.
Thanks
But
for persevering
the
through
archive
the
recording is still
technical
fine. But yeah, I think that it sounded really great. That was really cool.
That was good.
Awesome, Paradise Club in the house. And how cool is the video footage that was playing behind them as well? That looks like.
We're getting some of that right
Yeah.
now. We don't-
And yeah, that was the video footage was
know.
Leslie Hodgkins. That was really cool. What was that, man? Like found footage, and were you scraping the faces off of that film, or like what was that? Yeah, he said. Cool. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
You bet.
I know that was kind of an uncomfortable way to ask you about
Absolutes.
it. But really cool. I love seeing that, and especially behind the sounds that Paradise Club makes. That was
But
very cool.
we've had Les on the show before, and he talked about his found footage. Is that's the same
right.
kind of stuff that you were getting from 16 millimeter and
He's totally
8
getting the
millimeter footage you
iMessage
found
right
in
now.
like thrift stores and stuff like that? Yeah, yeah.
Right?
So what
Yeah,
episode
come sit with
number
us for a
was that?
second, Les. And Eric and Kiowa are right off screen here, and they're going to join us for the a little bit of a conversation and then the goodbye improvisation. But we want to say hi to Les. How you doing, man?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah,
guys?
cool. That footage behind Paradise Club was really great. And so can you tell us about that? 16 millimeter footage?
Oh yeah. That was a process of maybe somewhat similar to the poetry we were talking about, where I was taking pre-made films and manipulating them by rephotographing them and scratching and burning the film and then running it back through like a movie scope and filming it off of the screen on the movie scope using a video camera, and then manipulating that
Cool.
afterward
So
digitally.
some redacted film.
Yeah,
Very cool.
basically.
And just
some
certain
remixing.
shots, and it was like the woman just peeling the strap off of her bikini, or the volcanic stuff, or what specifically got me was the people running around that had the scratches on their faces. That was really awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I took like a soldering iron and burned the film frame by frame, all the way through, and
cool.
changed what was happening with the people in the film by burning it with a soldering
Cool.
iron.
With like a
And then-
magnifying
How
glass?
many
Because that's small,
screens were
right?
that? Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it takes a really long time because you're
Okay.
doing it frame by frame.
Yeah.
So it's 24 frames per second.
Right.
So every second of footage you see, I had to burn something 24 times.
Wow.
Okay.
Going all the way through the film. Yeah, took a really really long
Wait,
time.
so it's
Well, I
like
imagine,
you
yeah.
had to burn it, but then also you had to like figure out where on the face you were gonna burn each person.
Yeah.
Frame by frame. Yeah.
Which is why I burned
Tedious.
out their heads, because it was sort of like if you just follow that on the people, then
Right.
it'll
Pretty
be
literal.
fairly consistent. It'll look
Yeah.
kind of animated and
Yeah.
whatever. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. I think that performance was really great. I would love to see you guys play live Paradise Club with Les's footage behind you in a big club with 1,000 people watching.
Will you guys be playing live at any point?
Right?
Live shows?
Yeah, you guys play any live
Yeah.
shows coming up soon? Oh, yeah? September 30th.
So September's the month of
Where?
stuff happening this show.
Goodbye Blue Monday. I love that place. That's a good spot.
So September 30th, Goodbye Blue Monday. Where's that at?
Paradise Club.
Bed-Stuy Bushwick. What time? All night. Starts at whenever you get there.
Get there at
until
noon.
whenever you leave.
Start drinking.
Is there
And
a
what's the
dress
name again?
code?
Goodbye
Cool.
Blue
Fly.
Monday,
Yeah, we're looking at that. Looking forward to that.
Bed-Stuy.
It's going to be great.
New York.
Yeah, that song was really awesome. You guys going to join us for the improvised jam too, right?
Oh,
Awesome.
hell yeah.
Did you
That's
guys want
one
to
thumb.
you guys want to come up here for a few more minutes before we do that? All right, ladies and gentlemen, Kiowa Hammons and Eric Trosko. You're free to stay, Dean. I'm going to get some music stuff ready. Why don't you guys stay and talk a little bit?
All right.
Les and I are going to recline
Get out of here, Mike.
after we get the music stuff ready.
I can.
So you were gonna be.
okay. I
interviewed
couldn't.
by-
I couldn't see any of it.
And I saw a lot of green.
I was
actually.
I was like caught in a trance of what you guys were doing up there,
Yeah.
and then I like turned to see what you guys were doing on the green screen. I'm like, whoa, like it was a
Y-
great
your
experience.
trance intensified.
Yeah, I just saw a volcano exploding, and that was it.
I'm
Yeah.
That
like,
was it.
So that's
should
some pretty wild stuff, and then there was some pretty wild stuff also added to it. So
Yeah.
it was, I don't know what wild times 2 is, but that's what we were looking at. I think
It's 8.
Oh, okay.
8.
Going back to 8.
Wow.
So wild is
episode
4?
8.
Episode 8
on
and
8,
a half.
half 8.
Yeah.
Not 16.
1
Yeah.
half 8.
Word. That's a 3.
Fairly infinite. So we've actually
Fairly
been
infinite.
fairly infinite
That's
tonight.
Yes.
Fairly infinite.
It's what are we? We're close to like 2 hours now. What do we say?
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
1:49 is
Wow.
our time
Okay.
rolling right now.
That's
so,
great.
So we
This
got
is like
another-
almost telethon.
We got another
Like,
infinity going.
can we
after this.
can
Please
we
call in
raise
with your donations.
Yeah.
can
At
we
least
raise
I
something to
hope-
charity
I
at this
hope
point?
the telephone number is
You don't
prominent
have
during the whole show.
Paradise
The
Club
phone is
charity.
not.
Just read it out.
There's no one calling, guys. There's no
What's the
one
matter?
Please.
Don't you kids care about things out there?
Not this
Save the
generation.
children.
Yeah.
You know, this is
But
the
yeah.
Goldman Sachs generation.
Right. You're so selfish out
We
there.
ruined the country. Where's my bonus?
Oh.
So this
All
new
right.
song you had, anything you want to comment on about it?
Well, it's a dark song. I don't know. I think I brought up earlier that it's easier to write dark, sinister lyrics.
Yeah.
and
I think it's
things.
dark, but it's hopeful. I
Is
think
it?
it starts and ends on hopeful notes.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Can you go into that more?
That's from
Maybe
the
just the
author,
instrumental part was
the composer.
is hopeful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think what me and Kiowa do a lot that's really valuable is I think we offset each other.
Mm.
You know, we kind of rein each other in, and we also let ourselves go out there and explore things. So
So while he's discussing what might actually be dark in the music, you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Well, he writes the love songs,
okay.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
I
there's
just-
the short tall
Barry
thing,
Manilow.
too.
Nice
that
to meet
works,
you.
too. Yeah.
It's a marvelous night for a moon dance.
Yeah.
Wait,
That's
what's
a
that
good
Van
one.
Morrison?
The
Yeah.
Van Morrison?
Yeah.
That's the
All right.
man. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I think that's the dichotomy that
Yeah.
we like to work with. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm gonna speak something to say. And you have
But yeah,
two
I think
people
there
also
is-
on your band.
Mm.
I think there is a darker side to what we do.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you live the dark side?
No,
No.
I think it's more like I
Not at all.
I think
Not
we
even
kind
a
of took
little.
this as
Not
being
on the
about-
record.
Yeah,
No, I mean, I can understand that. I mean, some people live the dark side and some people live the light side, but have the dark side sort of infringe on their
Yeah.
creative process.
yeah.
So it can sort of drive you where you're talking about the darkness and he's talking about the hope, but you share a stage. That's
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
definitely. I think with any type of performance, like music or performance art, theater, anything, you're kind of personifying a character that is parts you, but then also not. But
Right.
it's such a great exploration of,
And
you know, those
often it's
things.
more than one character, and they're playing off each other is part of exactly what we're watching.
Right.
Not necessarily
sort of
just
like,
what you're thinking or what
Right.
you're thinking.
Yeah.
A window into the creative mind, because a lot of times we don't necessarily see the process of the creator of music or of any sort of, whatever, of art, so when you perform we can sort of see into that window of what's going on in two individuals' mind and how they try to sort of, bring together a contradiction of personalities even.
Yeah, definitely.
We can certainly see the effort that goes into each of yours performance, and then trying to keep it going together with each other.
Yeah. I think we had actually had this conversation of like, why don't we just sample all this stuff? All you'd have to do is push a button and then
Yeah.
you just sing it. And
Yeah.
I think for us, it's much
But
more like
I-
visceral, where we want to like
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
ourselves,
I don't
stress
think we
ourselves
could
out.
do that.
Yeah.
I
I think in a lot of cases it's really comes down to you could sample it, but
Right.
then you're capturing what you did at that time, and then when you're in this room, when you're in front of this green screen, when you're here in front of these people, you're capturing something very different.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really kind of plays through with live music.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
The sample is sort of what spoils musicians.
Yeah.
I feel like to capture emotion live and then to sample that is sampling an emotion. And nobody wants a secondhand emotion.
You're sampling in a
Hey, that's a
moment,
song.
too.
Secondhand emotion.
Nice.
So,
No, you're totally right, though. I mean, it really does come down to, I'm sure everyone has been conned into going to a laptop show. Where
Right.
it's like the people, and
Yeah.
it's great to hear
Laptop
things on great
DJs.
sound systems, and you're like, oh,
Right.
great.
Mhm.
But, it's like the intensity of the person behind the laptop, not to talk shit about laptop musicians.
because you
but,
could do some
it's
amazing
like,
stuff with a
Please
laptop.
talk shit about
yeah,
those
it's
still.
all
But
about
yeah.
the eyebrows.
You don't have to.
entire performance based on the eyebrows, because
Right,
there's
right.
nothing else you're going to see
Right.
except those eyebrows,
'Cause that's
I don't,
what's-
I've yet to see a laptop artist really rock it out while moving their laptop.
Yeah.
doing the-
I've yet to see
and-
that with anyone in front of a laptop
Yeah,
anytime.
they're
you
pretty.
know?
They're pretty demure.
Yeah.
They're pretty much just they're clicking and they're dragging and they're swiping and all that. But thanks
Where's
for
that-
coming down, guys.
Yeah.
Swoosh swipe.
We're probably gonna have to move it along to our goodbye session.
Right.
So
an improvised jam.
I certainly do invite you guys to join us, and
Oh,
I know you're gonna
most
do it.
definitely.
Are you kicking
So
us
just
out, Greg?
So honestly, you're gonna
Please exit the.
We're
green
gonna
I mean, I
take our
said some
spaces
stuff
at this
earlier, but it
point.
was just in joking.
and we're gonna play it out with a little bit of music. So everybody find your instrument
Yes.
of choice, and we're
Alright.
gonna
Yes.
get
Let's
it
do it.
going.
La 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 la. Hey, hey,
Yeah.
hey.
So I guess tying it all together, just want to wrap it up.
So yeah, thanks Justin Petropoulos for coming down and sharing your redacted works and your eminent domain works.
That was
Yes.
totally dope. I read some of that off screen and I was like running towards the starting line. Dope. I guess it's just like impact, like that line as he's reading 4 or 5 lines before it came to that line. I'm like,
yeah. It's almost like you knew you were gonna get there. You just didn't know how it was gonna happen.
Exactly.
And then he showed you the way.
With redaction.
And Paradise Club, thanks for coming down and joining us in our final jam. And we're gonna take it away. So.
You're gonna blow my mind right now. You're gonna blow my mind right now. Yo, never stop, feeling good, Brooklyn born, baby, I rep the hood, gonna do it to the D-E-A-T-H, I'ma have to get my money back, rebate, yeah, couple MCs in the spot, this is where you should be, we ain't gonna be nothing but the best, tell them sucker motherfuckers they need to rest, yes. Modelo, grab a fucking trumpet. This the dope shit, homeboy, you should bump it. Got a couple of the ill machines. We gonna make some things we should. I don't know, I lost it, but then I found it. I'm well grounded. My foundation, I feel surrounded by the energy, the love, everything above. I feel like I should be flying like a dove. All white, everything, yeah. And I don't rock bling. Check the ring, you ain't gonna see nothing, but I'm hustling. So one day I might own it all. I don't got a ball, cause at the summit I watch suckers fall. Yeah. Yo. Blaine on the trumpet, Mike on the box. Basically, that Fumio box. On the drums you can find Nick, and then I got my whole clique doing wild shit. Yeah, hat on my head, I'ma stack the bread, never fall in cause then I be dead. I'm still alive, so I'm focused on the grind, I'ma get mine till the finish line. Yo, they racing towards the beginning, I'm the ending, I'm a finish. Just started so I feel like I should be in touch with God. Now hitting on the flow, feeling with the bars, I'ma switch it up and go about super hard. Touching bases with God, telling me how to live. This is how it is. End of my biz, big. I'ma snap these whack niggas like twigs. Yeah, the tree of life, I'm feeling hella nice, and I know how to celebrate life. Brooklyn born, but I feel like I'm California. I don't know, it's cause my swag is hella important to a lot of motherfuckers who couldn't keep up. Janitor flow, boy, bring a broom, sweep up. Ain't nothing you can teach us. We next to God, how you reach us? How you doing, Nick?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody. Amazing, right? Yeah. Les Hodgkins, Kiowa Hammons, Eric Trosko, Nick Chen, Fumio Tashiro, Greg Becker, Blaine Kneece, Dean Brown. I want to thank Justin Petropoulos and Paradise Club for being the guest to join us tonight. It's a hell of a way to go. You got something? What are you doing? Let me hear it. Oh, I love it. I want to say thank you to everybody at home joining us. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Our show is a young sprout, but it's on its way to becoming a strong tree.
Strong. Before trees can grow in Brooklyn, seeds need to be planted.
That's right. How else to do it better than sharing language, internet, art, culture, music?
Word.
Yeah. So we're going to let these guys zoom out a few more minutes, and we're going to say goodbye. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Episode 8. Up next, episode 9.
9.
Woo!
More fire. Oh.